Oh, crap. Almost forgot. Dadgummit. There we go. Had to wear my chain. Good grief. I come up here. We're up by 6. I'm working on the thumbnail. I'm going to put Vols win. I'll go back down to the TV. They've scored. They got bases wide open. I'm sorry, bases loaded and not a single out. It's like, you got to be kidding me, Frank. Good gosh. That was a little stressful. I was not expecting that at all. I thought that game was history. I had to go live a minute or two early there. Let's see. Man, I didn't need that additional stress. All right, let's see what we got going on. We'll take a little look-see at our stats of the game. Let's see. Go over here to Tennessee. Man, we had 4 home runs. And Christian Moore had a home run, of course. Burke, man, he nailed that one. And then Amick, of course, had a home run. And Inslee smacked one. All 4 of them were no-doubters, too. And then we had a couple off the wall. You get into that a little bit. Yeah. 11 runs. Let's see here. We didn't have as many bases on balls. Their pitchers were keeping it in the strike zone, which surprised me. But, you know, that's their best pitchers, guys. We just saw their best pitchers. So, good grief. I'll tell you, it's a good thing we've got such a good offense, because I was not thrilled with our pitching today. But here's the thing. That's a tough little team. They're all fifth-year guys, seniors. You know, they came to play. They didn't give up. I'll give them that. They started kind of knocking it there in the 9th inning. And then our relief pitcher, jeez. How about striking out the side at the end? That was amazing. Let's take a look at him here. Let's go to our pitching. Yeah. 3 strikeouts. Look at that right there. He saw 3. Well, he saw 4 men. He he did a walk and then 3 straight strikeouts. Same thing he did. If you'll remember in the SEC championship, he struck out that dude at the end with that little hook that he throws up there. Well, he got 3 of them this time. What a way to end. God, his confidence level must be through the roof. All right. That was the game that I thought if we were going to have a little problem, it would be the first game, because we were going to go up against their best pitchers, which we did. Now we're going to go up against their second best pitchers. And there's normally there's a pretty good drop-off, especially with a small club, from their top 2 or 3 pitchers. There's usually a pretty good drop-off right in there. And the further you go in, the deeper you go, the bigger advantage you're going to have, because Tennessee's got serious depth. Chilmont is he's at a buddy's house, Greg's house, watching the ball game. I called him earlier. He was on the road driving over there. I promise you watched every bit of it. My other brother, Daryl, or Junebug, was at the game. So they were having a big time. And they're all probably wearing these too. What a great ball game. Do we hit the home runs or what? And it seemed like every time we hit one that wasn't a home run, it was right at somebody. They had that dadgum shift on us a bunch of times, and that just I don't like that shift. It seems to creak us a lot. They were playing the stats, though, so it is what it is. But that was a tremendous ending. That pitcher there at the end, Combs, I don't know. What do you want from a guy right there? He couldn't have done better. Those 3 strikeouts, I mean, that's as good as you could possibly hope for, and we got it. And Cannell was doing fine, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I think he started throwing just strikes. He did what I did. He thought, well, I got a 6-run lead. Only thing I don't have to do, I just got to make sure I don't throw balls. I can't walk anybody. Let's just throw strikes. And they went smack, smack, smack. That can happen. You get off your game. You get so far ahead, you get off your game. And, yeah, we had some there were some big plays in there too. We had the interference. We had the pickoff, which was the double play. And then there were so many times at home plate where we just barely got in. And they made some great throws. The center fielder that got hurt, he made a fantastic throw that almost got our guy out. And I thought he got him, but he never actually tagged the dude. But I thought he got him. It was a beautiful. I mean, you can't throw it any better. And I thought he had him dead to rights, but nope, not so much. No, they wouldn't go away, Slim. Slim said, you're right. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's because they're all 26, 27 years old, and they're not going to give up. This is it. This is it for them, for their college baseball career. They're not going to give up. They're not going to say, oh, well, next year's coming. Nuh-uh. They're going to fight you to the death. Let's see. Well, tomorrow we got that 11. Now, I'll probably do a post game. I don't think I can do a pre-game of that one. Look, those weeds are not going to cut themselves, folks. It's just the way it is. So I may not be able to do a pre-show, but I would think I'll do a post-show, though, because who the crap does an 11 a.m. game? What a pain in the butt that is. I hate that. I'm highly annoyed by the 11 a.m. game. That messes me up. I'll have to watch it on my phone probably. But I'll do a post game, I think. Hopefully I can make that work. I should be able to. It's stayed in at, yeah. But I think they pulled him out. Because, they said it might be a concussion. That baseball hit him in the face is what happened. It came off that wall and smacked him right against his glasses, broke his glasses, cut him real bad. And he hurt his shoulder too. I think it was his shoulder, they said, is why he wasn't in. It messed him up. And that was a ball that could have gotten out very easily, but it just didn't. I'd say at this point they wish it had, because they need that center fielder. He's a very important player to them. Yeah, well, Chilmont went there, and then Walt went there as well. Walt was the captain of the UT golf team 4 years before I was. He played from 80 to 84, I believe. Yeah, 80 to 84, and then I played 85 to 89. And then Chilmont went there. Chilmont's a pretty darn good golfer, but he wasn't playing competitive golf at the time, and he just went there as a student. Let's see. No, they didn't. Old McDonald. You're on your farm. Now, they're not a bad team. You doing it? Oh, man. Jeez. Yeah, great base running. I agree with that. This whole VFL thing, I'm not a big proponent of that, just simply because I figure if you've been a fan for 10 or 20 years, you're just as much a VFL as I am. I promise you. And it's more about being a fan for me than it was being there and playing on the team. I mean, I'm just such a fan that it's just kind of is what it is. Now, doesn't mean I don't enjoy covering I enjoy the crap out of covering the other teams. I've always kept up with them, but I'm a fanatic, no doubt, when it comes to my Vols. Can't help it. And I think most people are. Purple Aces. I'll tell you what, man, they did well. I had a feeling they'd be a little tough, but I thought we would just overpower them, which is exactly what we did. They didn't have the home run hitters we got. They had one guy that was a big-time home run hitter. We've got like 5. And even our guys that don't hit a ton of home runs, they will. It's pretty shocking, really. That's the best thing we do. Those home runs, man, those are game changers. They really are. They're so demoralizing for the other team, the way we just get up there and smack them out of the park, I mean. Yeah, Mr. Jones, I honestly, this was the game they needed to win, in my opinion, because their pitching is going to struggle from here on out, if I had to guess. And our pitching is going to be fine, as far as starters especially. And we're so loaded that, you can just keep bringing guys in. So I don't think it'll be a problem. Oh, Johnny Majors chiming in. I appreciate that. Now live in Kentucky, the basketball state. I'll tell you what, I got to give Mark Stoops credit. He's put Kentucky on the map. It's very hard to be the football coach at a basketball school. It's not easy. You don't get all the love. You don't get all the support financially, and he's done good. Yeah, Drew Beam will be starting tomorrow, and they won't have a guy that can compete with him, I don't believe. But don't expect – they're not going to quit. They're going to fight us to the very end. Yeah, well, their guy – I got to give their guy credit that started – he didn't look intimidated to me. He kept throwing his pitches. He didn't look like the stress was too much for him. But look, when you're going up against first-round draft picks, how many first-round draft picks do you think that guy saw in the batter's box all year long? Maybe 4 or 5. Well, he saw 4 or 5 today in one game multiple times. So it just, even though I thought he pitched reasonably well, and he probably would have won in his conference with that pitching performance. But when you're going up against the Vols, look, it's basically a minor league baseball team. That's what it is. I mean, they're professionals. So it is what it is. That it was important to get past this first game. I think this was the one where they could get us. If they were going to get us, it was this first game. So now we just need to finish it off. And I wouldn't give them an inch. I just keep going at them as hard as I can and just try to rout them and score as many points, as many runs as we possibly can, because they're going to score. They're a scrappy bunch. Let's see. Yeah, it was 11-5. No, it was 11-6. They scored one, and they had the bases loaded with nobody out. And our relief pitcher comes in there and strikes them out, all 3 guys, which is how good is his confidence right now? How just high is he right now? He's like, I just struck out the side with bases loaded in the final inning. And he looked cool as a cucumber. That's hard to do. I think the toughest job is being a closer, because you've got to come into the most high-stress situations. Everybody's screaming and yelling, and you've got to come in there and be calm. And that takes a certain mindset that very few people can do. That's why those closers make big money in the major leagues, because they're worth every dime. Yeah, 30 home runs. You don't see that in college baseball. There's just not enough games for them to do that. One of the things that I really enjoy about college baseball, the aluminum bats. I love that. It just makes the game so exciting. And I like the pitch clock, because I don't like the whole deal where the guy's removing his gloves 92 times and the pitcher's out there doing his 97 things. And next thing you know, it's a 4-hour game. I like that pitch clock. It just keeps everything rolling and moving along. And it really hasn't affected the players that much. They just got used to it. So you've got that going for you. Then you got the aluminum bats. Everybody's hitting home runs. And it makes the game very exciting, because I can tell you right now, the home run is the best play in baseball. It's the most exciting play, and the fans and the crowd loves it. It makes the entire game different. I wish they could do that in the major leagues, but I'm afraid the pitchers would get hit too much, because those guys, they're ridiculous. They would hit 550-foot bombs. We'll make the 12-team playoff. I'll tell you what. Well, I've already put Georgia and Ohio State in. I think they're almost guaranteed. So after that, it gets a little bit tricky. Those are the 2 I'd start out with. And then, of course, you got your conference championships and all that. Either Florida State or Clemson will win their conference. I don't see North Carolina doing that. So there's your 3rd one. And then Big 12, probably Utah. So there's 4. And then some crap team from the group of 5, because we got to include them for some reason. So there's 5. And then you're fighting for 7. If Notre Dame finishes in the top 12, they're guaranteed to be one of them. There's no guarantee they'll get in, though, because they might lose 2 or 3 games. And then after that, you've got your Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri maybe. Then up in the Big 10, Michigan maybe. That's America's team, by the way. And Penn State is a possibility. And in the SEC, you got LSU, Texas. I might put Texas in there as well as almost I don't want to call them a shoe-in, but they're almost just write them down. And I don't think Oklahoma this year. I'm not convinced on them. So that'd probably be my team. Liberty. Yeah, Liberty. That's why I think they'll go to 14. See, we're at 12 right now. I think they'll go to 14, and they'll make the SEC conference champion and the Big 10 conference champion. They'll get a bye because the numbers don't work otherwise. Because if you take those 2 out, then you've got 12 going down to 6. That leaves you 8, and that makes sense with a playoff. So I think in 2 years they'll go to 14, or they'll go to 16, and that'll be the end of it, because you should never, ever go past 16 in the playoff. Any more than that, it just that's more than enough. And I think that's where they're going to wind up, because realize they need money. They need money for the revenue sharing. And what's going to get you more money? More playoff games. And they're going to want more playoff money from the TV contracts. And mark my words, what's going to happen with college football? They will add a game to the regular season. That's coming. I don't know if it'll be in 2 years, 4 years, whatever. They're going to add a game because they need more revenue from the TV contracts to pay these players and to keep the administrators and coaches and all these increased salaries. And the players are now professional. So you can't go back to they're amateurs. How could you add a game to their schedule? How could you do that? They're going to be like, yeah, if you keep giving us money, give us 10% more money. Yeah, we'll play another game. That's not a problem. We'll go to 13 regular season games and we'll do the playoff. They're pros now. Do you want $1 million or do you want $1.1 million? And you play one extra game. I'll take the 1.1 million, please. So that's I haven't really brought that up. I may do a video on some of that at some point, but I think we're going to add a regular season game down the road. And I think we're going to go to 14 and then 16 teams in the playoff. And then I hope they cut it off at that and never go above 16, because otherwise you're going to start ruining the regular season if you do that. And they may stick at 14 because they want that SEC conference championship and the Big 10 championship to mean something. And I don't know if the ACC is going to necessarily be there long term. If they are, they'll probably become not group of 5, but a level below the SEC and the Big 10. Big 12 might be in a similar boat, especially if Utah winds up in the Big 10, because they don't have a lot of big schools. Losing Texas and Oklahoma really hurt them. I think they'll exist, though, and be fine, but they're going to be that second tier, and that may happen with the ACC, because you got a lot of schools that don't deserve to be in the group of 5, like a Pittsburgh, NC State, Virginia Tech, all those. And some of those teams that I'm talking about might end up in one of the big conferences. But the problem is, if you start bringing in too many into the big 2 conferences, that dilutes the money to all the other schools. And unless you're a Texas, Oklahoma, North Carolina will probably wind up in a big conference. I certainly think Virginia might, only because of the marketing TV area of Virginia. Nobody's got Virginia. So Big 10 or SEC might take that. There's a lot of talk about Florida State and Clemson. Are they going to wind up in the SEC or Big 10? I'm torn on that. I would take both of them in the SEC, but Big 10 wants them. And I know we're talking about football now instead of baseball, but y'all got me talking about it. So we'll see what happens there. The Big 10 really wants them because they want to be in Florida and South Carolina. The SEC doesn't need them, but they may do that to defend and keep the Big Ten out of their area, just out of jealousy. And then you got Notre Dame. What do you do with them? They're too good for a conference, as you know. But here's the problem with Notre Dame. They're missing out on a chance for a bye right now. There are 5 byes coming up. They don't have a chance at any one of them because they won't join a conference. That's stupid. That makes no sense. You've eliminated 5 spots. You could have been one of them. Nah. Now we'll just worry about the next 7. That's a mistake because they're good enough to win a conference championship of some sort. Let's see. And then they don't even play that conference game. That could hurt them too, especially with the playoff committee. Let's see. Besting, we need them to be. I'm still concerned about our secondary. I'm glad that we brought it. I'd feel a lot better had we just got some guaranteed guy or two that are like 5 stars or, guys that were, all conference in a big conference, something like that. See, that Caleb Downs from Alabama that Ohio State picked up, they didn't even need him. They've got a great defense. That's a player that could have changed our secondary. He's good enough to really change your secondary significantly because he can erase a lot of mistakes. I wish we would spend more money on our secondary. It's really been an Achilles heel, big time. But we have improved it as far as talent level. We've got a bunch of 4 stars back there. And Boo Carter, I don't know how they're going to keep him off the field. That guy's electric. Then you picked up a couple of all-conference guys. Not big conference guys, but guys that, are fairly proven. I don't know. We'll see. I think we're going to score a ton. As long as Ncaa stays healthy, I think we're going to score a lot because our wide receiver group is great. We're going to be able to run the ball because we always do. That has a lot to do with how the offense is set up. And when we spread out that defense, and they always wind up with 6 in the box, the defense, and we can run on 6 in the box all day long. We can do that against anybody. Maybe Georgia is the only one we might struggle with. But Georgia doesn't have to go 6 in the box because they got a 5-star cornerback, a 5-star cornerback, 2 5-star safeties, a 5-star nickel, and all-pro guy back there that they got out of the NFL. That's the only team that doesn't have to spread out. They can go one-on-one with you. And they manage to keep everybody in front of them, even though they're going one-on-one. They're loaded for bear. You've got to out-scheme them, and you need to catch some breaks to beat Georgia. But Alabama beat them last year, so it can be done. Ncaa with our offense more on par with – yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I think we're going to be a lot like 2022 with Ncaa. First of all, he's got great touch. You can just tell the guy's got a terrific arm, and he's a natural runner. Hendon Hooker was too. Hooker was a natural runner. Ncaa very much. He scored 3 touchdowns against Iowa, which was a top 10 defense. What do you want? If that doesn't prove it, I don't know what does. He has a nose for the end zone, and that's a gift. There are guys, Hendon had it. And, Tony Robinson, I did a video on him yesterday. He had a nose for the end. Well, I don't want to get into that, but he had a nose for the end zone. And he was great until he hurt his knee, and then all heck broke loose. Let's see. Headsets are going to allow. Yeah, you're right about that. We're going to have the headsets, folks, next year. So that'll be very interesting. It means we're going to go faster. We'll even go faster than 2022, possibly. Starting pitcher tomorrow is Drew Beam, I believe, that he'll start. And they're going with, they've got a decent pitcher they're going with. Seems like I saw they were talking about it. So they'll have an okay pitcher, but I don't think you can beat Tennessee with an okay pitcher from a normal conference. I think you've got to have you got to have an all conference first team, dude. So I think they're going to have a tough time. We hit too many home runs, and we've done that all year long. All right, folks, I'm gonna sign off here. We've done 25 minutes. And sorry, I almost jinxed us putting the Vols win up there. But we had a 6-run lead going into the 9th inning with an ace on there. So it is what it is. You got to be careful in this game. It's fickle. But anyway, I'm going to sign off, and I appreciate y'all showing up. And hey, we're 1 win away from Omaha, folks, with 2 shots at it, and with Drew Beam on the mound and these guys at the plate, I feel really good about it. All right, we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. Go Vols.